What's up guys, it's me, it's your boy
Asmongold,
and today I'm going to talk about my character progression on retail. But Hans, no one asked you to talk about your character progression. Shush. Okay, I'm going to do it anyways. So, if you didn't understand what's going on yet, I'm going to talk about what I have been doing on retail WoW so far, how the progression is going, and so on. I'm still quite newbie on the whole progression thing since I played the same expansion for 7 years. I had the chance to kind of explore everything within the Wrath of the Lich King expansion. But on retail, there's a certain pace that you have to keep up to. As I started in patch 7.3, I had a lot of new things to learn, and the classes have changed horribly much since Wrath of the Lich King. But overall, it's been quite a smooth transition. Now, before I continue, the whole point of this video is just to track my own progression and maybe even create a conversation with people who might enjoy watching this and see if they agree with my decisions or if they would have approached the problem in another way. So feel free to leave a comment at any time and I'll gladly be willing to discuss the matter. Alright, so where did it start? It started with me buying Legion, so I got a boost and I boosted my mage up to level 100 and I completed all the storylines and so on. While leveling, I joined the guild that a friend of mine was in, and while completing the interview I told him, hey, I want to enjoy the expansion first before I raid, and he fully understood because he did the same thing back in Mestopandaria. The guild I joined was Dadguard's Basement, a guild which did mythic raiding only on their main characters and occasionally a heroic run. The guild is very focused on letting everyone have just one main character and not letting people focus too much on alts, at least in the guild raids. But of course, whatever you do on your free time is fully up to you if you want to raid pugs with your alts, for instance. I joined my first raid with them, Heroic and Taurus, which is in a YouTube video. And I got quite carried, needless to say. I got curved though, so that was useless for me, because the whole experience just faded. After that, shortly I created my Resto Druid, and eventually leveled up a Demon Hunter. As they start at level 100, it was quite easy. I just did invasions, and I got to 110 very fast. Then I also purchased the pre-order for Battle for Azeroth and I got a free boost with that, so hence my warrior. In the guild Dadguard's Basement, I asked for a trial but I got denied. I waited quite long actually to get a response, which wasn't that popular for me. But once I actually got my response, I fully understood what it was, the problems and so on. At least I thought I did. Basically, I didn't do enough DPS for my gear. That took me like 5 more hours because I didn't realize I was doing something wrong. I didn't know. I did logs, but I didn't know that there was like wowanalyzer.com, so that helped me a lot. I also joined the Discord channel for mages and I got a few tricks and tips there. The second problem was that it appeared for them that I wasn't serious enough for mythic raiding. Now, I didn't understand this at first and I'll get back to that later, but from what I thought, it was that I wasn't basically serious enough while doing heroic raids, which I was. During encounters at least, I didn't troll or anything like that. They actually trolled me more than I trolled them. The guild leader even killed me on Coven heroic just for fun, basically. Shortly after that, I started gearing up my characters to 940 item level with a Discord community which offers raids. This was obviously good for me because I didn't do mythic raiding. I did 1 raid per week with this guild, so that gave me a lot of raiding time. Eventually I felt like this guild isn't for me. And the funny part is, a lot of people think that there's a lot of drama in guilds, but there's really not. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. It's that simple, really. I placed up 2 ads, one on this Discord community which offered raids and another on WoW forums looking for guild or looking for group sections. I got response on the WoW forum ads, hey, do you want to join this clan and this guild? And what actually attracted me first was that this clan was offering PUBG, and that is something I've been wanting to look for quite a lot of time now. I stopped playing PUBG because my friends stopped playing it as well, and since then I think the game is very boring without playing with people that you actually can bond with. You just play with randoms otherwise, or just go solo, which is not essentially the which isn't really fun. I checked out the progression of this guild and thought, they aren't progressing fast, man. The guild's name was Order of Entropy, so I looked up, and you can look up yourself as well. I checked Raider.io and I saw 3 out of 11 mythic kills back then. Now they have 4. And I also checked Warcraft logs, and their logs weren't that good either. So basically, if I were to join them, in theory it would be a downgrade for me, since Dadgor's Basement was a 9 out of 11 mythic kills guild. So why are you stupid enough to join them, Hans? Well, I checked through their logs very carefully, and I saw this one player, Geometria, and his logs were perfect. And I thought to myself, why is this guy in this guild? He's a very good player on public logs, at least. And I thought back to my Wrath the Lich King guild. Theoretically, my guild back then was a social/raiding guild. Yet we killed more Lich King heroics than the guilds that were purely raiding, or purely committed to raiding. And I just thought, let's give it an honest chance. And in retrospect, I don't regret this decision. Also, mainly, they were the only one to approach me with the guild invite. No one else responded to my ads. I'm not sure why. People actually wrote to me on Discord like, hey, good luck, I hope you find what you're searching for. They weren't offering a guild, but they just saw the ad, and I think they were impressive by it, or just they just felt like they wanted me to succeed, which was kind of a nice feeling from the WoW community. I've never seen that happen before, so that was new. So I had an interview. I hadn't left Dadgar's guild yet. Of course, I'm not going to leave a guild before I have a stable opportunity in another. The interview was more about the guild recruiter telling me about the guild, more than her asking me questions. Needless to say, she was quite honest and really preparing me for like the worst. But it actually turned out as a positive thing. I just hate when guilds try to oversell themselves. It's easy to see through bullshit talk most of the time, at least for me. So you might as well be honest. So once it was final that I would join their guild, I had a resignation interview or talk with one of the officers in my other guild, my Dadgor's Basement. It went well. He understood. I just said that it's not my home. It doesn't feel like my home, so I have to look for another one. I also asked about gearing my mage, because they basically geared my mage fully. And I asked them, if you guys want, I will stay in the guild until the next expansion, just to kind of repay you, because I thought that would be at least an honest, like a good thing to do. But he said no, it was okay, that he understood, and honestly, I think they just gave me gear that they didn't need themselves, because they were so geared. So at first I didn't know if I was going to be able to play my mage, because I might actually have to stay, but of course I didn't have to stay. So when they saw that I joined the new guild, Order of Entropy, with my mage, they were so happy in the guild chat. I don't know why, but they were just so wonderfully happy, and it felt really good. It wasn't an ego boost or anything like that. It just was simply feeling, I feel like I'm finally needed. So that was a good feeling. A few days later, I applied for trial, which was, of course, the goal. And I did my plus 15 mythic with them as a trial, because that's one way of them testing. It wasn't about my knowledge of the dungeon itself. It was just more of how I reacted to things, how I adapted, and the general attitude of wiping and, well, succeeding. For me, I thought it really creates a good atmosphere of where they directly include you while being still a trial. Of course, the trial is still that I have to join a certain amount of guild runs, but that's just common sense. So I'm not fully a raider yet, obviously. I'm just a trial. Later on, I did the heroic / alt run with them, and it went really good. I really felt like we were having a lot of fun, and the general atmosphere in the guild is just lovely. I actually have even had the chance to create a lot of guild memes already with them. What I find good about this guild is that we do a lot of things together as guildies, which is really important as a guild. It's not all about what my character needs. It's not all about what their characters needs. It's about what more like everyone wants to do and how we can benefit from it as a guild rather than individually, which I kind of saw a lot in the previous guild, that they had this mindset that they needed to please their own characters before the guild's general progression, if that makes any sense. Later on, I joined my first mythic as a trial in Order of Entropy, and honestly, Fellhounds was a horrible fight for me. It was way too much movement, but I find that they had I found out that they had very good tactics in general for countering Fellhounds, which was nice to see. We went straight to High Command, where we wiped for a few hours, and I can say I learned a lot of things there. And even though I wiped, I had a very nice time, which means that I don't really mind wiping if it's with their guild. The last note, from what I can see, I finally have found my crew, so to speak, and I think it's a very important aspect of the game to find the people. Unless you know someone already, you have to find it on your own, and this is kind of Blizzard's fault for making the game having so little social interactions. Sure, you can join pre-made groups, you can join bugs, you can join LFR if you want, but there's not going to be anything after that. You're just going to never see these other people ever again. So you kind of have to just look for it yourself. And I hope that I'm lucky enough to have found it on my second attempt, as in joining my second guild. But again, we'll see what future brings. I'll make this type of video once a week and we'll see how it goes from there. Until next time, cheers and have a nice one.